Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning. If I asked you what the most thankless job in the United States is right now, what would you say it was? Honest question. Personal opinion, I gotta say it's Secretary of State Marco Rubio's job. It doesn't matter what you do. This is putting out New Jersey fires with an eyedropper. It seems to me that, about once a year we turn around and there's a new war, new conflict, whatever you want to call it, starting somewhere. And here this week, we've got the latest one starting between India and Pakistan. Earlier this week, you had a bunch of Islamic terrorists, supposedly from Pakistan, go in and murder 26 male tourists in the Kashmir area on the border between India and Pakistan. Since then, you've had 2 firefights happen between Indian and Pakistani military troops. I want to give you this. There's been conflicts between India and Pakistan over this area for at least 1,500 years. And every once in a while it flares up. And it gets worrisome because both India and Pakistan are nuclear nations. In other words, they have nuclear weapons. India has a population of about 1.4 billion people. Pakistan has a population of about 250 million. So India's got nearly 6 times the people that Pakistan has. Ever played 6-on-1 basketball? Or anything like that? You're outnumbered real quick. What do you do when it gets too much? Oh, I don't know. What do they call it in Congress? The nuclear option. Yeah. We look at all the wars, potential wars that are going on of major players. Sure, we could talk about little ones in South Africa or on the African continent, but I'm talking about ones with major players in it. We've been living through Russia-Ukraine for 3 years. Neither of those countries are allies, but somehow we're involved. India-Pakistan is starting to fire up. Neither of those countries are allies. China-Taiwan is always in the back of everybody's mind. China certainly isn't an ally. And officially, we don't even recognize Taiwan as a sovereign country. So you got that. And then, of course, there's the whole Iran-Israel thing. Israel is an ally. So of 8 potential countries, or 8 countries involved in potential or ongoing wars, 1 is an ally, and yet we have all our hands in the cookie jar on every one of them. And people wonder why I'm an isolationist. Okay. We aren't going to stop China from going into Taiwan. We certainly didn't stop Russia from going into Ukraine. We're certainly not going to stop Iran doing anything with Israel or vice versa. Okay. And we're not going to stop anything with India and Pakistan. But I guarantee you what will happen is we'll pick a side, probably the wrong one in most cases, and we'll send money, and we'll send weapons, and you'll be paying to finance this war over and over and over again. Doesn't that sound like fun? Now, I'm certainly not going to be one of these gloom and doomers, but let's think about this. Russia's a nuclear power. Not that I'd think they'd use nukes against Ukraine. But then again, I'm the same guy that didn't think Russia was going into Ukraine in the first place. So I don't have any future as a analyst for the Defense Department on foreign policy. China, not going to use nukes on Taiwan. They want the mainland to be under Chinese rule. So they're probably not going to destroy what they want for their own property. India, Pakistan. Yeah, like I said, the aforementioned 6-1. Pakistan starts losing the war. And hey, you know what? We're going to just lob a couple of ICBMs over. That's a possibility. And we're going to talk about Iran, Israel. If Iran could put together a nuke, they'd have already nuked Jerusalem or Tel Aviv or something like that. I mean, this is what is going on around the world. And sure, it's all thousands of miles away from us. But then you get nuclear winter. And then things expand. What if we decide to defend Taiwan because China attacked the United States? What if we forcibly defend Israel? Do all these Islamic terrorists start doing something in the United States? Russia, Ukraine, India, Pakistan, who knows? We have friendly relationships with both India and Pakistan. They're not allies, but we have partnerships with them. That's going to be an interesting one. What side would we take? Russia, Ukraine. Of course, we know the warmongers in Washington want to keep, Zelensky making all sorts of money. I mean, it was funny this week. He had a short trip down to South Africa because the leaked reason he was down there is he was looking at investing in South African platinum mines. Okay. The guy supposedly has an $11,000 salary a year, but he wants to know what to do with his money. Dude must get great residuals off the reruns of all his acting, because on $11,000 a year, he could maybe buy a few ounces of platinum. But he wants to invest in mines. That'd be your money. We need to pay attention to all of this stuff, because all it takes is one of them to push the button. And then who knows who follows. It's little, bigger, 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 bigger. It just goes like this. Snowball effect. Nuclear winter. As preppers, we need to pay attention to this. It's why I talk about current events in so many videos, because you can't stick your head in the sand and just expect the world is going to continue to go on and, if something happens, I'll be ready. No. We've talked in the past about NBC suits, nuclear, biological, chemical. We've talked about potassium iodide. We've talked about masks, not the stupid cotton ones we had for COVID, but actual real gas masks. We've talked about how to protect a room from fallout. Okay. How to have a safe place where you could be, where you had access to water, access to food, and hopefully access to a toilet. Okay. But how to screen off quickly those areas and seal it up. Yeah. Having an air purifier in a situation like that. It's not gloom and doom. It's not probable, but it is a possible scenario If I had to guess which one would be most likely to go nuclear, at this point I'd say India, Pakistan. It would be Iran if Iran actually had the technology to build a nuclear weapon. 3 years in, I don't see, but again, don't quote me on this, because I'm not an analyst. I don't see Putin or Zelensky trying to use it. I think we already would have seen that by now. And China's not going to do anything with their own territory. But what if? What if we actually have a nuclear war start somewhere in the world? Depending on how big it gets, Great Britain may get their wish. We may get to block out the sun. Bill Gates would be happy if he's still alive. Living through that would not be fun. No question. It ain't going to be sitting on the porch with your shotgun watching the world collapse in front of you like so many preppers glorify SHTF. I've got everything I need. I'm going to watch the world fall apart from my porch. Right. Okay. It doesn't work that way. It may be a situation, depending on where you are, that you don't want to survive. I mean, nuclear holocaust is going to be living hell. No question. I mean, look at Nagasaki, look at Hiroshima after World War II with an atomic bomb. And what happened there, what the landscape was like, what the survivors had to endure. Maybe you want to live through it, maybe you don't. Maybe it's not as bad. But if it happens, it's still going to be bad around the world. And I'm not just talking about, oh my God, who's going to answer the phone when I call customer service? Yeah, because that would be pretty much dead. You know, no more Mayhew sitting there going, my name is Tom. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about it per se, but it's something to just keep an eye on because it keeps getting a little bit more heated. Like I said, the whole India-Pakistan thing's been going on for 1,500 years. This isn't anything new. The whole Arab-Israeli thing has been going on for thousands of years. China-Taiwan is a political thing, not a ethnic thing. Russia-Ukraine, that one's been going on for a while. Okay. But, like I said, the hardest job in the world, Marco Rubio's. Because we got no business whatsoever being involved in any of this stuff. Yet every day he's on a plane going somewhere else to talk to somebody else. Because for some stupid reason, it's our responsibility to make sure that other countries don't go kill each other. All I can say is, thank God we don't have a whole bunch of groups in the United States who have nuclear weapons. Because, hell, we can't police our own backyard. But for some reason, we think we can take care of everybody else's. Pinball out.